You look at the Bellinger situation right now and his name being bandied about. How are you and him reacting to his name being out there?
Well, I think it's always nice that teams want you, and Cody and I have been talking a lot about it. And whenever a player is in this situation, there's always an expectancy. But we also know that where Cody's at in his career, what his contract is, that I think he's going to be going to a very competitive team if it happens, and if he stays in Chicago, that'll be a place he's very welcome.
Have they communicated with you and him about your plans? Jed's usually pretty upfront about things.
Jed told us that they have some roster configuration issues they're going to examine, and that's really all that they've said to us.
Where do you think stand with Alex Bregman?
I think we've had numerous meetings with teams and owners, and we all know what comes after AB. That is the C in champions, and in Bregman's case, the C squared. And all these teams realize what a leader he is, what a champion he is, and plus his skill level to boot. So he's had a remarkable career to date, and he's very much in demand.
What's with feelings on the Soto deal?
I'm not. We're under physical, so I can't really talk about Soto.
What's something going on with Alonso at this point?
A lot of market locomotion regarding Pete, and the Polar Bear Express is rolling.
Are the Yankees in on it at all?
What's that?
Are the Yankees in on it at all?
Well, I don't talk about who's in or out, but we've gotten power in this game is such a commodity, and you can see that as we filter through the market, the availability of power is something that most teams recognize as a real core lineup need.
How did Juan enjoy his free agency experience?
Again, I'm not going to talk about Soto until his physical is complete.
As far as
Does the pitching market surprise you at all? I mean, I've got Corbin Burns, who everybody's kind of waiting for. Is this what you expected with the pitching market?
I think for pitching and Corbin Burns, it's kind of like Elvis. He's got that Burnsing love for a number one starter. You are really feeling it today, and very early this morning for me, I might add.
How do you feel about being so impactful still in this game that you and your players are driving this market both via free agency and trades?
Well, the nature of what I do, Bruce, has to do with who I represent, and probably very little with me. So I don't think I'd be here talking about with all of you of any interest if it wasn't for the privilege of the people I work for.
Yeah, but you continue to be the most influential person in the game. How do you feel about that?
I think all of us in the game are driven by the talent we're associated with. Teams are considered great teams because they have great talent, and managers are usually great managers because they have great talent. And the same is true for those of us who have the privilege to work with these great players.
The Mets still have an appetite to spend money beyond what they did on Sunday?
I think it's pretty evident that the Mets have decided that they're going to pursue winning and winning for a long time. They have made it very clear to us that they're not limited to signing one great player, but multiple great players. So, that they're going to be, I think, a very steady and heavy commitment to acquiring the best talent.
Scott, are you concerned about the disparity in the market between teams that will engage for free agency and teams that won't?
Part of a sports league is disparity. There's always a Goliath and there's always a David in a great sports league. And I don't care what league it is, and I don't care whether you have salary caps or not, you start to see those things happen in sport, and it's always been that way. So I've listened about market disparity and needs and such, but the one thing that's common is that every ownership that was bought for 100 or 200 million is now worth $2 to $3 billion. And I think that part of it is the greatest part of being part of a sports league, and the disparity part is just merely a competitive choice that you choose while being in the league that is appreciating at dramatic levels.
Does Pete Alonso want to come back to the Mets?
Pete Alonso's open. He's open to listening to a lot of teams, and obviously has been doing so. And certainly his experiences with the Mets were extraordinary, both for them and him.
With the Soto thing resolved or just about resolved, how does that impact basically everybody else, including the other best players?
Yeah, you're starting to see the bats, the power, the core lineup guys are, from our end, are starting to get the real pulse in the market. You're starting to get we've had preliminary meetings with them, but the offers are starting to roll in now.
What does the market look like for Manaea so far?
Well, there's a new Sean arising, and so it's something that I think teams have recognized, and the demand is really something that I think is going to happen soon. Yeah.
Given where the starting pitching market has been the last few weeks, how long of a contract do you think he's looking at?
Well, I don't discuss contract terms, but we're talking about contract lengths are determined by demand, and the demand for Sean is great.
Have you had any meetings with the Cubs? Alonso, they're looking for power hitting with that team. They certainly need it.
I've had meetings with, I think, 26 teams.
Would the Cubs be in that?
They would be in that, yeah.
What have you heard about Max Scherzer so far?
A lot. Max is highly thought of, and right now in the pitching market, again, a lot of interest and a lot of talk and discussion.
Is he all the way healthy?
Oh yeah.
See the Yankees as a fit for Alex Bregman?
I would, that would be up to their organization, but I think that anybody who wants a Gold Glove third baseman who hits in the middle of your lineup, I don't know many teams that doesn't fit for. So
Scott, for Bregman, does ballpark dimension factor into his decision at all, or is that not?
He hits as many home runs at home as he does on the road.
Why do you think the market is so much different this year compared to a year ago?
It rings of definition of resources for the teams. Media is more understood, more defined as to what the plan will be ahead. I also think that expiring contracts sometimes in this market have a lot to do. But the real lesson of this is that star-level players, playoff caliber starting pitching, power in the postseason are winning consistently, and those are the things the teams are pursuing with really just great aggression.
Scott, with Juan Soto being so greatly benefited by waiting for free agency and not signing an extension earlier in his career, do you think that could lead to younger stars like Gunnar Henderson, for example, looking at that and saying, let's wait
That's
for
a
free
good
agency?
idea. I should think about that. I really should. I think that adage is something that yours truly has been talking about for a long time with select players. And in situations, there's a lot of players that have benefited from signing early too. And they were in the right place at the right time. So it really depends on the individual. It really does. So what you do.